What's up, everyone? Ben with the BTC Sessions here, and this is your daily session.
Hodl the Bitcoin.
Before we jump in, a couple quick things. Of course, check out my website, btcsessions.ca. This is where you can reach out to me personally and book your own BTC session. We can chat things like setting up your own mobile or desktop wallet, proper security, setups with Trezors, ledgers, whatever you like, or just general learning about Bitcoin and how it works. All you need to do is scroll down to the bottom. There's a contact form for you there. And secondly, shout out to the sponsor of the show, Ledn.io. This is where you can use your Bitcoin as collateral to get a Canadian or US dollar loan. Now, I've done it myself, and the way that I've utilized this is it's a way for me to go long Bitcoin if I think that the price is going to go up in the long term. So loans are typically a year long, and it's 1% interest per month. And so what I did myself, I filled out the application, took about 2 minutes to do, and my bank account was funded within 24 hours. And so personally, I'm going long Bitcoin. Again, this is not financial advice, but I've gone long Bitcoin, and I'm dollar cost averaging in, and then I will pay back that loan at the end of a year. And hopefully my intuitions will be right, but I've made sure to only use a small amount of my Bitcoin to do so, just in the interest of being financially responsible. So anyways, if you're looking to get your hands on dollars for whatever the reason, and you don't want to sell your Bitcoin to do so, this could be an option for you. And with that, we'll jump into the news. And so we're going to take a look at Bitcoin price, kind of where it's at, what's been happening over the last day or so, and kind of where that resistance and support is. So we're still popping around in this ascending triangle. So we did have a drop just recently. We were sitting around kind of the 7,900 to 8,000 range, and we dipped down to at some points kind of like the $7,600 range. Although at one point, if I'm looking at my phone correctly here, we did have a low of around 75, even down into the 74s on Bitstamp. But we've since popped back up. We're now sitting at the time of recording this, the low 7,800s. So a lot of the notes in this particular article, because it was written earlier this morning, we've already surpassed some of the resistance that we were talking about yesterday. So it looks like we've managed to bounce off that 7,600 range. Now in this article, they're talking about trying to get up over 7,650, and it just wasn't happening. Well, we've now done that, so it's looking like we're going to possibly springboard and retest that $8,200 range that we have not been able to break past. If we drop down and out of this triangle, then we could be seeing a dip back to 7,000. But if we break upwards, then we could be looking at the next major resistance, which would probably be in and around $9,000. So, we'll be watching this carefully over the next few days to kind of see what happens. Myself, I'm not really trading based on this. I don't really trade my Bitcoin for the most part. I just kind of hold long term. But yeah, I guess it'll be interesting to see. Now, some of the bullish factors that are here is, as I was talking about yesterday, exchanges are seeing the volume of orders, or sort of rather the number of orders, basically at all-time highs or higher than they were at the peak of the bull market last time. Now, this does not mean the order volume in US dollars, but rather the number of orders being executed on exchanges. Now, as far as volume in US dollars, it's only at about 1/3 of the peak. However, Bitcoin price is about 1/3 of the peak. So in terms of Bitcoin value, that kind of lines up with where everything has been. Whereas something like Ether is at 1/5 of the peak. So the US dollar value volume, as far as trades go per day, seems to be keeping in line with the price of Bitcoin itself, whereas the order volumes, the number of executed trades that are being seen on exchanges, continue to go up. So that's actually quite a good thing when it comes to exchanges like Binance and others, because they get fees based on the number of trades executed. So Yeah, good for them. Again, we're looking at possibly up to 9,000 if we break out of this triangle, possibly back down to the 7K range, even if it's briefly, if we break downwards. And we're still kind of in that downward channel as well, though we're looking at possibly busting out of that. We're kind of sticking near the top of it. There are kind of a few other bearish and bullish indicators, but that's the general feel that we get. Now, there are a couple other things related to price. Now, just recently, the beginning of May, institutions went 100% long or bullish on Bitcoin. So all of their positions were long with the CME as of, let's see, so around as of the May 14th or so, institutions were 100% long on Bitcoin. However, retail not quite as long. However, long positions have gone up marginally around 4%. So interesting there. And one final thing related to price here is that 10 fintech leaders were interviewed and asked their thoughts on Bitcoin. And the consensus in general, once you kind of averaged out what they thought, would be a price at the end of the year of around $9,500. Now, I don't find this to be super outlandish, actually. I mean, we've already been up to 8, and we're already talking about if we break that 8,200 range that we could see 9. So I don't see any reason why that is not at least possible. Now, will it for sure be there at the end of the year? There's no way to tell. But I think that's a reasonable prediction based on what Bitcoin has been doing this year. And I like seeing predictions like this that are on the bullish side but not outlandish. When somebody says, oh yeah, 100K by the end of the year, well, I mean, when we started to see that consistently, in early 2018, when everybody was saying, oh, no, it'll be $100,000 by the end of the year, look what happens. When everybody gets too bullish, too fast, it's pretty clear that you're near the top. So it's nice to see some reasonable predictions heading out there. So let's move on here. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but we did talk about Craig Wright, the fraud, the other day, and how he filed a copyright for the Bitcoin white paper. Well, I mean, it was inevitable, but people reached out to the Copyright Office. So I'll just read the important stuff here. However, the claim has no basis in reality when the Copyright Office receives an application for registration. It does not investigate the truth of any statement made in that application, nor the identities of the people registering for copyright. The office told the Financial Times, so Financial Times had reached out to the Copyright Office. So the Copyright Office said, and I quote, "In a case in which a work is registered under a pseudonym, the Copyright Office does not investigate whether there is a provable connection between the claimant and the pseudonymous author." So in other words, they don't check. So anybody, and we looked around the other day, it turns out it's $55 to fill out the form online, and that's it. And to prove how easy it was, I've seen all over Twitter, all over the place, people have been filling out the same form for the same for the same white paper and submitting it just to prove, hey, anybody can do this. So yeah, more or less, like I said the other day, this story was a big nothing burger. Obviously, people who want to believe Craig Wright is Satoshi because they're holding a big bag of SV were all about it. And when anybody presented them with the facts that anybody can do this and it only costs $55, then they just have no plausible response for it. Anyways, let's move on here. Now, this is interesting in a couple different ways here. So authorities have seized a Dutch Bitcoin mixer in a worrying precedent. So a Bitcoin mixer can work in a couple different ways, but essentially what's happening is you're taking your coins and you're putting them together with other people's coins, shuffling them around, and then sending out the same amount back to all of the individual users. Now, up until recently, this was mostly done via centralized services. So somebody would put up a website, you would deposit, they would mix, and then send you back different coins. And, that's worrying in that you're giving custody of your coins, at least temporarily, to a centralized service. And as we now see also, this centralized service can be seized. So Europol actually seized this Bitcoin mixer. It is called bestmixer.io. So there's a press release on May 22nd. So it was a joint effort between Europol, the Dutch Fiscal Information and Investigation Service. So yeah, they essentially took down this, and then they left this message on the website. This service has been seized by the Dutch Financial Criminal Investigation Service under the authority of the Dutch Prosecutor's Office. Dutch law enforcement have started an investigation on bestmixer.io in June 2018. In the investigation, we have collected information about transactions, letters of guarantee, and support messages. You are not anonymous. So it seems like a kind of basically a veiled threat of anybody who has used that service. All the more reason not to use a centralized service for that, but rather use software that you can run independently without having to do any of that. And to that point, my company that I work at, Bull Bitcoin, has just launched CoinJoin mixing for all customers of this service. So essentially the way it works is when you pay your bills, for instance. So you're in Canada, you want to pay your phone bill and you want to pay it in Bitcoin. Well, when you send that Bitcoin to Bull Bitcoin, it automatically gets mixed with other coins and shuffled around so that the coins are no longer linked specifically to an individual person. When somebody goes to Bull Bitcoin to buy those coins, they're sent out from CoinJoin. So essentially, what is trying to be done here? Why would you do this? Well, yes, you want anonymity, but why do I feel this is a responsible thing for businesses to do? To me, this is the equivalent of a bank simply assuring that when you take out cash, there aren't GPS trackers in your bills. Because that's essentially what you're doing when you take out Bitcoin from a service and they send it to you and it hasn't been mixed. Well, as soon as you link those coins to you, an individual, with that service, well, at that point, anybody anywhere can take a look at your wallet and see where you spend your money and where it goes and track what you have. Not just the service themselves, but anybody. And so it is kind of like a responsibility of a company to ensure they're doing this so they don't violate their customers' privacy in doing such. Now, as far as Bull Bitcoin goes, as a financial service within Canada, they still have to abide by regular laws of anti-money laundering, right? So if somebody spends over $3,000 a day, well, then more information is required. If you're buying Bitcoin, well, there's a lot of fraud that can be involved in that, so information is required. But in sending the coins to you, we're not required to, or there's no reason for us to be able to track what you do with your coins afterwards, and there's no reason that anybody on the outside should be able to do such either. You made the purchase and that is recorded if needed, but outside of that, you shouldn't be able to track what, if there's a $20 bill in your wallet, do you want anybody in the world to track where your $20 is at all times? I don't think so. So anyways, it has now been integrated into Bull Bitcoin and CoinJoin is live on the site. So I look forward to the day that this is industry standard and not a feature, because it shouldn't be a feature. It should be expected. Anyways, we'll move on from there. And actually, if you're looking to check out Wasabi Wallet yourself and play around with it, I am looking at doing a video on this. It's just very crunched for time, so I will get to it. But excellent wallet, and you can do it yourself. And make sure you maintain your privacy, because you got to also think, if there's any linkages between you and your coins, you become a target for people that want to steal your money as well, right? I've heard of people having home invasions and people coming in and basically forcing them to hand over their money because people have known how much Bitcoin they have. So this is an important thing. You should take a look into it. And I'm looking at doing some workshops here in Calgary, one-on-one with people, teaching them how to use software like this. So anyways, I will move on from there. But CoinJoins and privacy and fungibility are very important for Bitcoin. And I think that's kind of the next battleground that we're going to have to forge our way through. Another warning to everybody, just heads up, the Google Play Store, there's a wallet app there that's imitating Trezor. Now, they don't have any branding or anything there, but they are saying that they are Trezor, and it's not necessarily malicious spyware or anything, but it is like a phishing app. It's trying to fish for your wallet seed or your credentials. So, just do your due diligence. Be careful. If you download an app and something seems fishy, don't use it. Check the reviews, check online, check with the actual company to see where any official sources of getting their software are, if there is some to download. So just really, with any wallet that you use, always be careful. Very important. Shout out to my friend Dave here in Calgary. He pointed this out to me earlier in my Telegram channel and said to check this out. Really, really cool. So this is a browser extension called Get Used to Bitcoin. And essentially, it converts any price in your browser to sats, to Satoshis. So you can see the example here, like there's different shirts and you see the dollars, but then you also see the Satoshis, the number of Satoshis it would cost to buy it. Even if you can't pay in Satoshis, it gets you into that mindset of, oh, do I really want to dump? Even like here, he said, my friend Dave said, I'd sooner buy a $6 shirt from a thrift store and stack about a million sats. So the extension can be found on the Chrome web store here. And again, more examples here. I've installed it just now to check it out. And so here's an example, like this book, Black Swan by Nassim Taleb. You can see here the Canadian dollar value, and then you see below 205,000 sats. So I think it's really cool. I'm going to keep this everywhere because it just, again, it gets me in that mindset of, what are you spending your money on? What, should you be saving this? Is this something you need? Is this something that will help you grow as a person? Or is this just crap that you don't need? In the instance of this book, I do want this book. Anyways, interesting. I think you should check it out. I'll have links for all that down below. And with that, I'm going to sign off, guys. Thank you so much. I want to let you guys know something. I just started my own Telegram channel earlier this week. I forgot to mention it in the show all week so far. But if you'd like to jump in there and join that chat, there's only about 50 people in there so far. But I'm always happy to welcome more. I will have links for that down below. But yeah, it's just cool to be able to chat with people through the day, ask people's opinions on stuff. If you find relevant news that you'd like me to cover, you can always paste it in there. So I will link to that Telegram channel. Also, if you want to help out the show, of course, still hit up my website, hit up ledn.io if you're looking for a loan. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, because every time this airs for the first time, I am in the side chat, chatting everybody up. And if you really love the show, you can drop me a Bitcoin tip via Lightning Network at my tipin.me page, and I will link that down below. If you don't know how to do it, I made a tutorial, which I'll link as well. And with that, I am out. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you tomorrow for your daily session.